Marc Jackson, NBC Sports, Philadelphia. You see him as part of Sixers pre- and post-game show. And he joins us now, the Boardwalk Honda Hotline, to take a look at this Sixers team, Mark. After a nice win last night, I thought that Markelle Fultz maybe played his best game as a pro. Would you agree?
I agree with you 100%. Markelle Fultz, slowly but surely under our eyes, as they get more and more comfortable playing the game in the NBA. I thought he looked more at ease, more calm. He let the game come to him a little bit more, and I think he's getting the picture now. It's better late than never.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still the question of him starting and playing with Ben. He obviously seems like he's excelling a lot better without him. I mean, is that the role that you think he will excel best in, playing without Ben Simmons?
So, yes, I think we've come to learn that Markelle Fultz is better. I mean, Markelle Fultz is better with the ball in his hands. So, with that being said, Ben Simmons is a dominant ball player. He's the point guard. He's the ball distributor. What happens when you put those two together? That's something they have to work out. One of those guys got to figure out how to play off the ball. It's not going to work. That's just elephant in the room. It's just the facts. One of them has to learn to play without the ball in their hands, and then his team will be more successful.
Mark, do you fear that – I'm going negative. I'm going a hypothetical negative here. Do you fear that their styles of play maybe don't mesh well together? Like, I use the comparison of Chris Paul and James Harden, but they're veterans, and they both shoot the ball very well. We're in the infant stages of Fultz and even Simmons. Do you fear that potential down the road?
Well, I think you're underestimating the fact that you said Chris Paul and James Harden can shoot the ball a little bit. That's a big deal.
Right.
So that means either one of those guys can be off the ball, and be able to still be impactful in a game. With Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz, both of those young men are not the best of shooters. Believe it or not, I think Markelle is the better shooter, and if he gets his shot back that he had all in high school and all in college, I think then it can work. But if Markelle's still searching for that shot in the next 10 to 20 games, it's not going to work.
Yeah, let me ask you, Mark, what you've seen. Where has he kind of progressed from the beginning of the season now? What has been the biggest progression for him?
For Markelle?
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's been his ability to slow down. You know, when you're young, speed, as Coach Cheney used to say, speed kills. So when you have a young guy that all he knows is my speed, he doesn't know, and it creates problems, creates turnovers, because he's moving too fast, faster than he should. So Markelle's biggest progression to me is his ability to slow down and let the game come to him and manifest himself that way, as opposed to him forcing the situation.
Mark, I've kind of looked at him and said throughout the time that, hey, maybe right now his role is that of like a Sean Livingston. This guy, you know, Livingston was a very high pick. He had the injury, but he has really found a role running that second unit in Golden State. Is that where you think Markelle Fultz maybe would fit this team the best right now, or do you think it behooves the Sixers to continue to try to see if him and Ben can work together?
You know what? Let's just call it how we see it. That's a fact. That's a fact. Right now, this team will be it was about now. It was about let's win these early games now. You play Markelle off the bench, put JJ back in his role he had last year as starter. Then everything meshes great together. So you got another ball-dominant player that can get some points. You know, come with the second unit. But that's not what the Sixers are doing. The Sixers are trying to build for the future. They know Markelle is going to be very important for the future of this team, the future of the team. So we have to jumpstart him to get him going, to help this team, not just for now, but for the future. So that's why they trying to push the issue, push the envelope, as you would say, and got him in the starting lineup, because it's not about now. It's about 40, 50 games in 8 years from now.
No question, and I think that's well explained. Let me ask you, what do you think, if there is something, the reason is that is holding Markelle from catching and shooting and being more confident when he catches the ball outside of the arc?
Confidence that he has to continue to build because he had an injury, gentlemen. He did have an injury, and it must have hurt him so bad that every time he goes to shoot the ball, he remembers that injury, or at least give him the ifs when he shoots that ball. So I think he will get over it. I think it's going to take time. I've seen significant change in these 9-10 games from the very first game to now. I do see him get more comfortable when he's shooting the ball. His stroke is looking better, and I think it's helping the ball club.
Mark, outside of the starting five, in your opinion, what has been the most effective lineup for the Sixers so far?
To me, the unit from last year. Unit from last year.
When Redick's in instead of Fultz?
Yeah. Because they messed. But, because they played together last year. That's been effective. But even though Dario's starting, even though Dario's struggling in his starting role like he had last year, people saying, well, it's just another year. Why is he struggling? People was underestimating the strain that he's had over the summer. A lot of people don't notice that Dario's national team coach was my rookie year coach in Europe when I was in Turkey. So I know how that coach is. That coach, we did 3-a-days the whole year. Not 1-a-days, but 3-a-days. So, people say, oh, Dario, he can't do this. He can't keep playing for his country. It's not just about playing basketball when you represent your country in Croatia playing the game. It's about something more than that. And, basketball is a personal thing for these people, where these for the European teams, where it's more so is about pride. A lot of people say, oh, we got pride when we play. No, it's different in Europe. It's different for Croatia. It's different for Lithuania. These guys are not just can't just say when and where they're going to play. It's like mandatory that these guys represent their country in basketball and sports. So it's something he's going to continue to do, and I don't see him stopping in the future. I think he just got to get his legs under him. But how you going to get your legs under you if you don't get a chance to rest? That's something that's concerning to me.
Hey, Mark, I'm interested to get your take on the role that you see for Wilson Chandler. He has been upgraded to questionable for tomorrow. Apparently he practiced today. Where do you see him as a fit? And do you see what he brings as something this team is currently lacking?
The Sixers are missing another player that can put the ball on the floor and create his own shot. Markelle Fultz is capable of doing it. Joel, of course. Ben is every now and then that can create off the bounce. Now, what's the bright spot? The bright spot is Will Chandler's a great defensive player. He's a gritty player. He's tough. He's a long defender. But what people don't remember is this guy he's going to get the Sixers 12 to 14 points a game. And he don't have to start to do that. Just put him on the floor. He's going to find a way to do it. So what's going to be interesting is he's going to have a major impact. He's going to play at least 20 to 23 minutes a game, at least. Mm-hmm. That's what kind of impact this guy is going to have. I think he's going to take some of Rocco's minutes. He's going to take some of Dario minutes. But I think it has to be another player who minutes are eliminated. So I'm real curious to see what happens with Landry Shamet, T.J. McCollum. I'm real interested to see what happens there because I don't think he thinks none of Ben, none of Joel, none of Markelle. I really think those points are going to come from the other guys in the lineup.
Yeah, and we're going to have Coach Brown on in about a half an hour from now. And one of the things I've been wanting to kind of, find out from him is what kind of sample size do you need to kind of tweak your rotations? Like where you say, man, this kid Shamet's been playing really well, but I'd like to see him do it for 10 games, 15 games, 25 games. When do you think that is for a coach?
Every coach is different. So when I played with Flip Saunders, he looked at everything. I don't know where he came for this number. He looked at everything in a four game increment. He would look at it every game. Every section of game was 4 games, which is mighty low for some the late Flip Saunders. But when I played for Byron Scott, he looked at everything in 10 games, sometimes 15 games. The great Jim O'Brien was one of my favorite coaches of all time. Sometimes he looked at it in 5 to 10 blocks. So everything is different. But I think for me, personally, Marc Jackson, Landry Shamet gives this team a very good shooter. And he's also, people forget about it, he is a point guard. So he is another player that can make plays for others as well as get their team in the sets, run the offense, as well as play off the ball. I'm curious to see what happens when Landry Shamet and Wilson Chandler comes in. Does he still get 15 to 25 minutes and TJ gets none? What goes on there? I'm real curious of that, but I think Landry Shamet has to continue to play for this team.
Mark, what are your thoughts on Ben Simmons from an offensive standpoint so far this year as an aggressive scorer or lack thereof? I mean, there's been some criticism, of course, there always will be, on Simmons not shooting enough, not attacking enough, and not shooting threes enough. Is that an issue for you? Tell me what you've seen so far and how much of maybe some of his struggles so far are just due to the pieces around him.
No, his struggles have nothing to do with the pieces around him. Ben Simmons had the perfect pieces around him. So it's nothing on the team. It's on Ben.
Yeah.
Ben, I don't think, and here's a falsehood. People say, oh, you got to be great to shoot the three. No, you don't. It'll be nice to be able to shoot the three, but you don't have to be a great player to shoot the three. DeMar DeRozan has added the three-point game slowly but surely to his game. But he was scoring 25 points without the three. So you don't need no three-point shot to be serviceable in the NBA. Ben Simmons has to be able to shoot a foul line jump shot, though. I think that's the furthest way he needs to be away to be considered a superstar in this league. Because I think that'll keep the teams honest. If he at least can hit a foul line jump shot, he has more room to operate, which means teams have to come out to him more and guard him, which gives him more paths to get to the rim. But without that, if your range is 5 feet from the basket, that's a problem, and that's going to limit your productivity. Now, with that being said, here's the other part. There's a triple-double machine. Yeah. But how can he improve? He can be even more guardable by getting a 10 to 12-footer. Not 22, not 24, 10 to 12-footer. So when teams go under that pick and roll, he can pull up and shoot that foul line elbow jump shot. And then he got to chase him over, and then he has more room to get in lane, which opens the court up more for the team.
Marc Jackson, NBC Sports Philadelphia, with us here. Sixers pre- and post-game show. You can, of course, check out the Sixers tomorrow at 1, Sunday at 6. And, Mark, Muscala, I saw last night it seemed that they gave him the run late in the game. Would you like to see more of him? And do you think his role is still developing as he got coming back from the injury and you know, trying to find his role on this team? Would you like to see more of him?
I would. I think he will be productive. He will be productive in the minutes given because he's sort of like Ilyasova. I actually believe he's a better rebounder than Ilyasova, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think he's a better rebounder. And he's a little bit taller, but he shoots the ball very good. He shoots the ball very, very, very good, like Ilyasova, like a Marco Bellinelli. So I think he can find his niche in here, but I don't think he's a guy that needs 30 minutes, not even 25. I think if you give Muscala 15 minutes, I still think you're going to get 8 points, 4 rebounds. If you play him 25 minutes, I really still think you'll give him 8.4 rebounds. I don't think more minutes is going to double his productivity. I think he's that kind of player. That's who he is. He's a catch-and-shoot player that can also get up and rebound a little bit on the offensive rebound a little bit. That's who he is. I think you keep it 15 minutes to be fine.
Yeah, and, you know, one guy, apparently Korkmaz had said, hey, I'm not happy. He came here to play, and he hasn't got a lot of time. Now, here's a guy who can shoot. My question is, when you have a guy like Simmons who doesn't want to shoot, Fultz obviously doesn't want to shoot all that much, would you like to see Korkmaz maybe get a run or so with Simmons to see if he can get some open looks and be that guy, much like they did with Shamet? They've given Shamet a run, and he's been able to shoot the ball. Would you like to see if Korkmaz can get some open looks playing with Simmons?
I would. I really would. And I believe it or not, I thought he would get some minutes. I thought Korkmaz would get minutes at the 8th man off the bench in the rotation because I think he gives them something of what Bellinelli gave him. And I think I truly believe that he has not gotten a fair shake. But here's the other end. Okay, let's put him on the floor. Whose spot does he take? You know, so, you bring one guy in, you got to sit a guy. So that's the question. Does he play over Markelle? I don't think you can do that. You got to see what you get from Markelle. Does he play some of Dario minutes? I thought he would, to be honest.
Right now, it seems like you could do that, right?
Shamet's been getting a lot of minutes, too.
Exactly. I really believe. But then you got Wilson Chandler, who's coming. Wilson Chandler's going to give you some points, some rebounds, and some defense. And he can guard multiple positions, sort of like what the Morris brothers have up in Washington and up in Boston. That's what you're going to get from Wilson Chandler. But Furkan is a floor spacer. He's legit 6'7". He's a little bit quicker than Bellinelli, so he can give you a little bit edge on the defensive end. But I don't think he's getting a fair shake. But with that being said, I understand why Brett Brown is not giving him playing time. He's like, okay, if I give him minutes, who I'm taking off the floor? How do I justify giving Furkan minutes because he can shoot the ball?
Yeah.
What am I going to do with these other guys who do multiple things?
Yeah.
So that's something, and that's what makes Brett Brown's job so hard.
Right. You're right. There's only 5 guys that can be on the court, and, there's only so many minutes in the game, 48, that you can get these guys out there and do things. It's funny because, all right, they've lost games in Boston, Milwaukee, Toronto, 3 pretty good teams. They lost the game in overtime to Detroit. They've won games against teams that, are middle of the pack or lower of the pack. People panic when they see they're not close to Toronto. They're not close to Boston. So, of course, the next question always becomes, Mark, they got to do something. They need to get another player. Jimmy Butler's name has been brought up a lot. Would you give up a lot to get Jimmy Butler? Would he fit on this team?
It's funny. So, I live in Center City, so everybody's a coach, in Philadelphia, as we all know. So everyone has approached me, but we got to get this, we got to get that. What would I give up? So here's my thoughts on that. Minnesota wants a player back. The reason why they even took the Houston Rockets 4 first-round picks, because they want a player back that can help them. Also, Houston's picks are going to be late. They're going to be late first round. So you need some player that can help now. And I understand that. But if I'm the Sixers, I'm saying we got to give up something to get something. So Minnesota's going to probably want Philadelphia's 2 first-round picks, their own and the Phoenix Suns pick that they got for Bridges trade. They're not going to want Rocco. They're not going to want Furkan. They're going to want either Markelle or they're going to want Dario Saric. Mm-hmm. They're going to want one of those guys. I'm almost at the belief if I'm going to give up 2 first-round picks from this year, meaning this offseason I had 2 first-round picks, and my guy Super Dario, I might entertain it. Or 2 first-round picks and maybe Markelle, I might entertain it. Because if you truly try to win now, Jimmy Butler helps put them where they need to be. But I really don't believe you got to give up Markelle and Dario. I think that you cannot give up both. I don't care who you bring in here. You need one of those guys to be that 4th guy. You need one of them. Yes, I say need. Need's a strong word, and I mean it. You cannot give up both of them to get Jimmy Butler. You cannot.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do, Mark. So Joel Embiid this year, he's been spectacular. 6 30-point games, 6 30-point and 10-plus rebound games. But the one area that I'm focusing on is the turnovers. He's averaging just about 2 turnovers a game, which is almost half of what he's been averaging his career. And that's a big step for him. I want your thoughts on Joel Embiid's performance, specifically the turnover number.
The turnover number for Joel Embiid is so significant because the pace is so fast for the 76ers, and Joel's a big guy. Let's say he's a huge guy. So for him to keep up with that pace and not get winded, which causes fatigue, causes mental mistakes, will cause the turnovers. He's done so tremendously this offseason, getting his body right, getting his game right, playing one-on-one against guards, which I'm a big advocate. Even though I don't agree with him when he say he considers himself a guard, I don't agree with that. But embrace the big man role and love it. So I think one thing, he's in better shape than last year. One thing, he's got more comfortable in the game. I think that alone has made him outstanding. People say, what is the biggest thing that Joel can do to be even better than he was last year? Cut the turnovers down. So we're talking near half the amount of turnovers. That puts Joel in a whole different atmosphere of basketball player. And he's also being more effective. He's going out to the 3-point line. He's never going to get it up. but he is literally pounding guys to smithereens around that basket. He's really embracing and enforcing his will to guys, and that wears guys out mentally.
He was so dominant last night, Mark.
When you know a guy's going to keep coming at you, and there's nothing you can do to stop him, that hurts your ego. It kills your will to win. And that's what he did to that team last night, and that's the same way he's doing more of with every given game.
Hey, Mark, before we let you run here, would you look at this Sixers team? I know it's early, and they're 5-4, so people are looking at them. They didn't do enough in the offseason. They're not good enough. They still have the same problems. Do you think this team is better than the team last year?
I think their makeup is better, yes. I think the makeup of the roster is better. Yes, they lost 2 significant shooters, but I think you got to cancel one of the shooters out because we did get my name is slipped now, from Atlanta, the big guy we just talking about. Muscala. We did get Muscala, who's a significant three-point shooter. Okay, so that cancels one out. So we lost one shooter. But what we gained a guy in Wilson Chandler that could defend both ends of the floor. Zaire Smith, I don't even know if he's going to play significant time this year. We lost that. But you do get a rookie in Landry Shamet who has proven to be a good shooter. Not Marco Bellinelli type of shooting, but adequate and good enough type of shooting. So I do think this roster is better. The thing that we all need to keep a close eye on is can they hurry up and gel before some of these games move further and further down in the seeding. That's important. And to me, what I think they need is they need a 10-game road trip. When that comes about, they will gel quicker. They need it now.
All right. It said something that, they were 25-25 after 50 games last year. So we know a lot can change after about the 50-game mark. So let's see how this team gels, and then let's see if they decide they need something. Marc Jackson, NBC Sports, Philadelphia, Sixers pre- and post-game. And, of course, you heard him here on the Boardwalk Honda hotline. And, Mark, I was texting back with him last night. You're going to be in Atlantic City for that Temple game?
Yes, sir. I believe I am. I believe I'm bringing the whole family down for it.
Cool. We'll have to hook up. It's Temple Davidson. They got a quadruple header of basketball all day long at the Boardwalk Hall. Great venue to watch the game. We'll see you down there, Mark. We'll talk to you before then.
You know it. Yes, sir. Have a great day, guys.